People want to get high to numb the pain instead of looking down deep inside them and see what's causing the pain. It was a lifestyle. I couldn't get back up on my feet. I became addicted to drugs.
They lean toward stimulants to take them away from the physical pain that they surrounded by. So
even if it's to kill and take their money for their addiction of maybe the drugs is the only way to go out because they don't want to bring to surface what's inside.
Welcome to Homeless U.S. News.
On Homeless U.S. News, today's story begins in Arizona, where extreme heat constantly pushes human endurance to its limits. In Arizona, more than 14,000 people are experiencing homelessness, with nearly one-third living completely unsheltered. During summer, temperatures regularly exceed 113 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 degrees Celsius, turning sidewalks, open land, and outdoor spaces into high-risk environments. In Maricopa County, hundreds of heat-related emergency incidents are reported each year, with people experiencing homelessness among the most affected. By day, Arizona is seen as a place of clear skies, rapid growth, and expansion. Yet behind that progress are people with nowhere to escape the heat, facing dehydration, exhaustion, and a lack of basic support. This is not just a housing issue. It is a test of social responsibility and human compassion unfolding in plain sight. Stay until the end, because what unfolds in Arizona may change how we think about livability and care. The current landscape of homelessness in Arizona. Arizona's homelessness crisis has reached new heights by mid-2025, with the state recording around 14,370 individuals experiencing instability in their living situations across its 15 counties. In the urban hub of Maricopa County, which covers over 9,200 square miles and includes Phoenix with its population exceeding 4.5 million, a recent count revealed 9,634 people in this predicament, marking a 3% rise from the previous year. Even more striking is the nearly 28% increase in those without any shelter, relying solely on the open air in a region where annual rainfall averages just 8 inches, making survival a daily test of resilience. These figures aren't just data points. They represent real people setting up temporary spots in parking lots, along sidewalks, or under makeshift tarps in areas like the Sonoran Desert, where elevations range from 70 feet below sea level to over 12,000 feet. Rural spots, such as Yavapai County, with its 8,100 square miles of rugged terrain and a population around 240,000, echo this pattern, seeing steady rises in families displaced from their homes. In Cochise County, spanning 6,200 square miles near the Mexican border, and Mojave County along the Colorado River, with about 13,300 square miles, vulnerable groups like single mothers, Native American families, and older residents on fixed incomes are hit hardest. These smaller communities, often overshadowed by the spotlight on Phoenix, fight quiet battles with limited resources, highlighting how widespread this issue truly is. From my perspective, sharing these stories in Homeless U.S. News reminds us that empathy starts with understanding. Every number is a neighbor, a colleague, or a friend who could use a hand up, teaching us the value of community support in turning tides. Multiple causes behind the crisis. In the shadows of Arizona's rising homelessness, a web of overlapping realities quietly pulls lives off balance, turning stable routines into daily quests for security. Central to this is the stark lack of affordable homes, where Arizona faces a shortfall of 270,000 units for those earning below median income as of 2025, according to the Arizona Department of Housing, a void so vast that it swallows up over 50% of wages for many, sparking evictions and the slow drift into unsheltered nights. Rents climbing 25% statewide since 2020, with Phoenix medians exceeding $1,500 monthly, quietly erode the ground under working families. It's making one unexpected bill the tipping point towards scavenging for shelter amid the uncertainty of street life. Personal upheavals layer on, like domestic violence emerging as the primary pathway into homelessness for women and children, impacting over 40% of sheltered families per A New Leaf's 2025 Valley Insights, or mental health and substance challenges entangling another 30% as tracked by the Tucson Pima collaboration. Silent storms that fray support networks and deepen the sense of being adrift in a society moving forward without pause. Have you ever pondered the fragile threads holding our own lives together, and how extending a moment of understanding might strengthen them for someone else? Through these glimpses in Homeless U.S. News, a quiet reminder emerges that we're all part of this shared human journey, where acknowledging these roots opens paths to collective care. If these layers resonate, a like can signal that shared empathy, and subscribing keeps us connected for the unfolding turns ahead, where glimpses of renewal await to reshape the view. 2. Multiple causes behind the crisis. The people impacted by the crisis. In the quiet corners of Arizona's neighborhoods and streets, homelessness doesn't discriminate. It weaves into the lives of children playing catch-up with school in crowded shelters, teenagers forging independence amid uncertainty, families clinging to routines that shift with each sunset, and communities feeling the subtle echoes of these struggles in shared spaces like parks and schools. Picture a young child in Maricopa County, one of the 1,168 minors under 18 documented in the 2025 point-in-time count by the Maricopa Association of Governments, 12% of the total 9,734 affected, whose days blend homework with the unpredictability of temporary spots. A number that quietly outpaces many urban areas and underscores how early instability can linger long into futures yet to unfold. Teenagers, too, navigate this terrain. The 2024 Voices of Youth count from Chapin Hall at the University of Chicago reveals that 1 in 30 adolescents nationwide, ages 13 to 17, faces homelessness each year, translating to potentially thousands among Arizona's 1.7 million youth, where aging out of foster care often means stepping into a world without steady ground, their dreams deferred by the daily quest for basics. Families form the heart of this narrative, with over 30% of Arizona's homeless population, roughly 4,578 individuals per HUD's 2024 Annual Homeless Assessment Report, tied to family units, where parents balance work shifts with shielding kids from the harshness, their presence rippling into local communities through strained resources like food banks or after-school programs that stretch to accommodate unseen needs. In Pima County, the 2025 count of 2,218 people includes 26% in families, a figure that climbs higher than state averages and hints at how economic tremors, like a sudden layoff or medical bill, can pull even stable households into the fray, affecting not just those directly involved, but the fabric of neighborhoods where one family's quiet hardship becomes a shared concern. These stories remind us that such fragility isn't reserved for others. A job loss, an unexpected expense, or a health setback could nudge any of us closer to that edge, and turning familiar comforts into distant memories and inviting a deeper empathy for paths that mirror our own vulnerabilities. Have you ever paused to reflect on how life's unexpected turns might bridge our worlds with those facing these realities, and what small, everyday connections could mean in weaving stronger communal ties? Through the lens of Homeless US News, these glimpses illuminate our shared human journey, where recognizing this common ground gently encourages us to extend hands in meaningful ways, perhaps volunteering at a local shelter, supporting community programs, or simply listening to foster understanding that builds resilience for all. If these intertwined lives stir a sense of connection in you, linger a bit longer as the path ahead reveals a subtle shift toward collective possibility that reshapes how we see one another. How long has it been since they last showered? In the unrelenting grip of Arizona's streets, homelessness manifests as a profound erosion of basic human comforts, where the absence of a secure roof cascades into an ongoing struggle for cleanliness, transforming simple acts like washing into symbols of lost stability and deepening the chasm of societal disconnection. As 2025 unfolds, with Maricopa County's unsheltered population surging to a record 5,159, a 28% increase captured in the point-in-time count by the Maricopa Association of Governments, these individuals endure extended periods without access to showers or sanitation, their daily lives shadowed by the physical and emotional toll of grime and neglect, while fostering a sense of being relegated to the fringes while the world rushes by. This expansive portrait reveals a fragile existence marked by the instability of nomadic routines, the quiet sting of exclusion, and the ceaseless demand to forge ahead amid mounting pressures, where each passing day without relief underscores the thin veil separating routine life from profound hardship. Yet, amid this veil of challenge, society's compassionate undercurrent shines through in subtle, impactful ways. Volunteer-driven mobile hygiene stations rolling into Phoenix's neighborhoods, where a 2024 University of Arizona study of 30 unsheltered residents highlighted over 60% battling skin and digestive woes from scarce resources. A trend persisting into 2025 as organizations like A New Leaf and Saint Mary's Food Bank expand distributions of care kits and pop-up facilities, quietly reaffirming value through these grounded gestures. In rural pockets, similar initiatives from community groups provide portable sanitation, countering isolation with acts that not only cleanse, but also mend spirits, offering fleeting moments of normalcy and hope. These unassuming efforts, from shared water points to donated essentials, serve as vital lifelines, illustrating how everyday kindness can soften the edges of despair, nurturing dignity and hinting at the potential for broader healing. Have you ever considered the profound ripple of a small, thoughtful intervention in restoring someone's sense of self amid such uncertainty? Through the lens of Homeless Us News, these narratives cultivate a deeper empathy, showing that collective care weaves strength into vulnerability. If this touches a chord, a like honors that shared reflection, and subscribing invites you along for more, leading to insights of transformation that await in the journey ahead. Navigating challenges in addressing the housing crisis. In the everyday rhythm of Arizona's communities, the drive to build more accessible homes often hits roadblocks that feel all too tangible. Like the startling reality where only 25 affordable rental homes exist for every 100 extremely low-income households statewide, as documented in the National Low-Income Housing Coalition's 2025 Arizona Profile, a gap that quietly amplifies the strain on families piecing together budgets in the shadow of soaring costs. This isn't an abstract shortfall. It's the lived experience of parents in Tucson juggling multiple jobs yet still facing eviction notices, or elders in rural Mojave County watching their fixed incomes erode against rents that have climbed relentlessly, turning what should be a sanctuary into a source of constant worry. Even more eye-opening, the Common Sense Institute's Q2 2025 update pegs Arizona's immediate housing deficit at 52,846 units, a number that dwarfs previous estimates and underscores how construction lags and regulatory hurdles leave thousands in limbo. From Phoenix's bustling suburbs to quieter corners like Casa Grande, where waitlists for aid stretch months long. Compounding this, a 2025 Arizona State University report reveals that just 39% of workers earning median wages in their fields can afford a one-bedroom apartment without financial hardship, painting a picture of working Arizonans, teachers, nurses, service staff sacrificing meals or health care to keep a roof overhead, and a silent toll that ripples through daily lives and family bonds. These barriers aren't insurmountable, with local initiatives like Phoenix's tiny home villages or Tucson's zoning reforms offering glimpses of progress, yet the slow grind of implementation often can't keep pace with the human needs unfolding on the ground, where each postponed project echoes in makeshift shelters and overburdened support networks. Have you ever reflected on how these unseen delays shape the quiet resilience of those holding on? And what simple threads of community involvement might help mend the fabric? As we explore these layers in Homeless U.S. News, it gently evokes our common ground in this shared landscape, where recognizing the weight carried by neighbors invites a deeper sense of connection. If this window into the struggle touches a familiar chord, solutions for the mental health crisis. In the quiet undercurrents of Arizona's homelessness, mental health emerges as a profound layer, where the lack of a steady place to call home often deepens feelings of isolation and inner unrest, making each day a subtle navigation through unseen emotional landscapes. By 2025, an eye-opening 38% of those without shelter contend with serious mental conditions, as outlined in Arizona's State of Homelessness Services annual report. A revelation that underscores how instability doesn't just challenge the body, but quietly frays the mind's resilience, turning simple routines into ongoing internal dialogues of doubt and disconnection. Yet, amid this, community anchors like the newly opened Pathways of Hope in Phoenix, as a 50-bed haven launched in December 2025 for single adults facing homelessness and severe mental health needs, provide a grounded response, offering not just beds, but integrated therapy and case management to rebuild from within, showing how dedicated spaces can gently restore a sense of self amid the chaos. Further afield, initiatives like the Project for Assistance in Transition from Homelessness, PATH, through AHCCCS extend their reach, enrolling over 1,000 chronically unsheltered individuals yearly into behavioral health networks and housing pathways, a surprising scale that illustrates the impact of street-level outreach in transforming solitary struggles into supported journeys across urban and rural divides. In Tucson and surrounding areas, such programs from Keys to Change have touched 21,009 lives in fiscal year 2025 alone, through family reunification efforts, diversion from shelters, and community therapy sessions that prioritize emotional rebuilding, a volume that quietly highlights the ripple effects of preventive care in preventing deeper entrenchment. Partnerships, such as those between Arizona Behavioral Health Corporation and HOM Inc., weave housing with ongoing mental support, creating stability for hundreds more by addressing the intertwined needs of mind and home in a state where over 15,000 face these realities daily. Even in Maricopa County's bustling valleys, grants from organizations like BHHS Legacy Foundation fuel mobile mental health outreach, with $100,000 allocations in 2025, enabling Circle the City to deliver on-the-spot counseling and crisis intervention to those often overlooked on sidewalks and in encampments. These efforts, from Phoenix's Office of Homeless Solutions integrating wellness checks into daily aid, to rural collaborations providing telehealth in remote spots, paint a picture of gradual, human-centered progress, where small, consistent connections help mend the fractures caused by prolonged uncertainty. Have you ever reflected on how a moment of genuine understanding might ease the weight someone carries unseen, drawing us closer as a community in these shared human experiences? As these layers reveal themselves in Homeless U.S. News, when hope returns to the streets. In 2025, hope returns to the streets of Arizona through measurable outcomes, not personal stories. Programs across the state are proving that homelessness can be reduced when systems focus on housing first, coordinated services, and rapid stabilization. Statewide data shows that more than 2,100 individuals exited homelessness through permanent housing placements in fiscal year 2025, driven by structured case management, rental assistance, and direct access to behavioral health care. These results confirm that progress depends on systems, not narratives. In Maricopa County, a coordinated entry program shortened the average time from street outreach to housing placement by prioritizing unsheltered individuals and streamlining documentation, benefits, and landlord engagement. This approach reduced shelter bottlenecks and lowered returns to homelessness, especially in urban zones where demand far exceeds supply. Similar strategies in Pima County expanded diversion programs, keeping thousands from entering shelters altogether by resolving short-term crises before displacement became permanent. In smaller and rural counties, where resources are limited, targeted interventions still produced results. Partnerships between local governments and nonprofits expanded transitional housing, mobile outreach, and telehealth mental health services, allowing individuals to stabilize without relocating to major cities. Programs providing identification replacement, transportation vouchers, and rapid rehousing grants removed practical barriers that often trap people in long-term homelessness despite their willingness to work or comply with services. Housing supply remains constrained, but incremental solutions, such as adaptive reuse of motels, small-scale housing developments, and zoning flexibility, have begun to close gaps. Data from 2025 shows that when individuals are placed into stable housing with follow-up support, emergency room visits, police contact, and public service costs decline significantly within months. This reinforces the effectiveness of housing-first models over prolonged shelter dependence. The evidence is consistent. Homelessness decreases when responses are structured, data-driven, and coordinated across agencies. Conclusion and call to action. As this chapter comes to an end, one truth remains impossible to ignore. Homelessness is not a distant problem happening to distant people. It is unfolding in real time, in real communities, shaped by choices made or avoided every single day. The streets of Arizona do not reflect a lack of potential in the people living there. They reflect the limits of how far society has been willing to go. A more hopeful future for people experiencing homelessness is not built on sympathy alone. It is built on resolve. It is built when housing is treated as the starting point for healing, well, not the finish line. It is built when mental health care reaches people before despair hardens into survival mode. It is built when communities decide that no human life should be defined by the worst moment they ever endured. The uncomfortable reality is this: homelessness persists not because solutions are unknown, but because urgency fades too quickly. We debate, delay, and normalize what should never be acceptable. And in that silence, people remain outside, aging faster, growing sicker, and slipping further away from the stability that could still be within reach. So this ending is not meant to comfort. It is meant to challenge. What kind of future do we want to pass on? One where suffering is managed and hidden, or one where recovery is expected and supported? When we see someone living without shelter, do we ask how they failed or how we did? If dignity begins with a safe place to sleep, who deserves that dignity less and why? And if tomorrow you were the one who fell, would you hope for judgment or for a system ready to catch you? These are questions of conscience. They do not belong to governments alone. They belong to neighborhoods, voters, communities, and individuals. Because change does not start with policy, it starts with what we are willing to accept as normal. Homeless. U.S. News exists to keep this conversation alive long after the screen goes dark. To remind us that awareness is only the first step, and that real progress demands courage, compassion, and sustained action. The future for people experiencing homelessness can be safer, fairer, and more humane, but only if we choose it deliberately. If this story stayed with you, don't let it end here. Like the video to help keep these realities visible. Share your thoughts in the comments because your voice matters. And subscribe to Homeless U.S. News as we continue documenting not only the crisis, but the choices that will define what comes next. In the end, the measure of a society is simple. Not how it protects comfort, but how it restores dignity. The future is still unwritten. What we do next will decide whose lives are given the chance to begin again.